Chapter 1236. Oh my God, I didn't expect this woman in white to be so powerful. It's unbelievable that she came from a small empire. I told you that this woman has an extraordinary appearance and temperament. She doesn't look like an ordinary person, right? As soon as this remark was made, everyone nodded in agreement. Bailey Hongzhuang's temperament was indeed not like an ordinary person. However, the number of people indicated that she came from a small empire. It was really difficult to judge. While Zhu Cheng and Xiang Wen were surprised, Bailey Hongzhuang did not give them any time to be stunned. Since they were opponents, there was no need to be polite. Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved and she immediately used fulgurating shadows. A white wind flashed between the crowd and her speed was completely beyond everyone's expectations. Zhu Cheng and Xiang Wen only felt a chill run down their spines and their bodies could not help but tremble. Even though they had already tensed up, they still could not avoid Bailey Hongzhuang's attack. By the time they reacted, Bailey Hongzhuang's palm had already landed on their bodies. Bang! Bailey Hongzhuang's two palms landed on their bodies in succession. The two of them seemed to have been hit by a heavy blow, their bodies exploding like cannonballs, slamming into the wall in the distance before stopping. However, the two of them fell heavily on the ground along the wall. They suddenly felt a metallic taste in their mouths and a mouthful of blood spurted out uncontrollably. Fresh blood dyed the ground red, and the auras of the two people instantly withered. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang seriously injured the two of them, everyone sighed in their hearts. This was the strength of an Orange Realm cultivator. Zhu Cheng and Xiang Wen, who were at level 6 of the Red Realm, had no ability to fight back in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang directly attacked the cultivator at level 8 of the Red Realm. At the same time, Baishe also rushed to Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu's side. It was also at level 5 of the Red Realm. When the Sanming cultivators who were fighting with Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu saw the sudden appearance of Baishe, one of them could not help but attack Baishe. Since Baishe was Bailey Hongzhuang's contract beast, Bailey Hongzhuang also felt sorry for Baishe. Based on the current situation, they were no match for Bailey Hongzhuang. If they wanted to escape, capturing this little guy was a good choice. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang did not agree to let them go, he would kill Baishe. At the thought of this, the man was pleased with himself and immediately attacked Baishe. In his opinion, this little guy had no combat power at all. The other two cultivators were overjoyed when they saw the man's actions. This was a chance for them to turn the tables. No matter what, they had to grab hold of it. For a moment, the two cultivators attacked Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu in a frenzy. They didn't want to give them the chance to help Baishe. However, Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu were not nervous at all after seeing this scene. Baishe's strength was not weaker than theirs. They thought that these guys would soon regret their actions after knowing Baishe's strength. The surrounding cultivators also felt that this man had made the right decision. They could not help but feel that Liang Xinghui and the others were really lucky. However, in the next moment, all the cultivators present widened their eyes. Hiss. Chapter 1237. In front of everyone's astonished eyes, Baishe leaped and directly bit off the man's neck. The man's eyes widened. He didn't even have time to scream before he fell to the ground. Baishe didn't know what it meant to be shy. In its eyes, as long as it was an opponent, it would bite them to death. Time seemed to have stagnated for a moment. Everyone looked at this scene in a daze and couldn't recover from the previous situation. Gulp. It was unknown who swallowed a mouthful of saliva, but everyone did the same thing. When they looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others again, everyone had completely restrained their previous contemptuous attitude. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked inconspicuous, but not only did they have an Orange Realm cultivator, they even had a very powerful monster. Everyone looked at the snow-white Baishe and then looked at Bailey Hongzhuang who was wearing a white robe. They couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. Like master, like monster. These two guys were pretending to be pigs to eat tigers. He looked harmless to humans and animals, but his attack was so powerful. Liang Xinghui and his group could be considered to have 8 lifetimes of bad luck this time. Liang Xinghui couldn't care less about the pain of his broken nose at this moment. He really couldn't believe that the victory that he thought was in his grasp would be defeated in such a short time. The two cultivators who originally thought that the dead cultivator was extremely smart also widened their eyes at this moment. An unspeakable fear spread in their hearts. The strength of the other party was simply beyond them. Xia Jiqing and the others saw that Bailey Hongzhuang and Baishe were so domineering, and their morale was suddenly boosted. The speed of their attacks was also getting faster and faster. For a while, Liang Xinghui and the others were completely defeated. Under the double blow of strength and influence, they simply didn't even have the thought of continuing to fight. Everyone couldn't help but look at Liang Xinghui. In the current situation, if they continued to fight, they would only be wiped out. If they begged for mercy, there might be a glimmer of hope. Feeling everyone's gaze, Liang Xinghui also made a prompt decision and said, "Stop." As soon as these words came out, everyone stopped and looked at Liang Xinghui. At this moment, where was Liang Xinghui's previous dignified appearance? Bright red blood covered his entire face, and even his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. But at this point, he couldn't care less about his image. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Liang Xinghui indifferently. She wanted to see what Liang Xinghui had to say at this moment. "Miss, I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai previously. Please be magnanimous and let us off this time," Liang Xinghui begged. Under such a great disparity in the trial, he had no other choice but to do so. Looking at this dramatic change, the onlooking cultivators sighed. They did not expect that the situation on both sides would completely change in the end. Liang Xinghui has really lost face this time. First, he was so arrogant, and now he's begging for mercy. What a joke. One look and you can tell that this woman isn't an ordinary person. With his looks, he still wants this woman to be his woman. What a fool's dream. This is going to be interesting. I wonder if they will let Liang Xinghui and the others off. Chapter 1238. In the face of Liang Xinghui's begging for mercy, Bailey Hongzhuang was still unmoved, and her expression was indifferent. "Young Master Liang was so aggressive before, and now you want me to let you go with just a few words. Isn't it too simple?" Her deep black eyes flickered with a cold light. She had never been a soft-hearted person. Liang Xinghui and the others were so aggressive that she was very clear. If the winner was Liang Xinghui and the others, they would not let her go so easily. After seeing this scene, Xia Jiqing and the others slowly walked to Bailey Hongzhuang's side. They also wanted to see Liang Xinghui and the others begging for mercy. With Bailey Hongzhuang's voice falling, the faces of Liang Xinghui and the others could not help but turn ugly. Obviously, Bailey Hongzhuang's group was not easy to deal with. Thinking of this, Liang Xinghui clenched his teeth, and his face flashed with a hint of struggle. Then, under the burning eyes of everyone, he knelt heavily on the ground. As Liang Xinghui knelt and begged for mercy, Zhu Cheng and the others also knelt down. Perhaps, after this kneeling, they would lose face, but if they did not do so, they would not even have their lives. Between the two, they did not hesitate to choose the former. After all, their lives were the most important. "Miss, please be magnanimous and let us go," everyone said. Liang Xinghui also said, "Miss, as long as you let us go, we will never dare to have any thoughts of revenge in the future. As long as you need us, we will never dare to refuse." For a time, Liang Xinghui and the others all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with hope. Their lives were now completely in the hands of Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang turned slightly and looked at Xia Jiqing and the others. She wanted to know everyone's thoughts. Xia Jiqing looked at the corpse not far away, and her eyes flashed with a trace of unbearable. She said, "Hongzhuang, let them go this time." Although she was a cultivator, she had mostly killed demonic beasts so far. She rarely killed humans. Liang Xinghui's team had a total of 8 people. She felt that it was too cruel to let all 8 of them die by their hands. Bailey Hongzhuang then looked at Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu. The 2 of them also nodded. Presumably, Liang Xinghui and the others would not dare to have any malicious thoughts towards them. After Liang Xinghui and the others heard Xia Jiqing's words, their eyes flashed with a bright light. Right now, all they wanted was to survive. Bailey Hongzhuang looked deeply at Xia Jiqing and the others before nodding her head. That's good. As soon as these words were spoken, the worried hearts of Liang Xinghui and the others also relaxed, and their hearts were filled with an indescribable joy. Bailey Hongzhuang turned around and looked at Liang Xinghui and the others again. Her clear eyes were filled with indifference. This time, we can spare your lives, but you have to pay a price for disturbing us. Liang Xinghui and the others, who were originally happy, heard Bailey Hongzhuang's words, and their hearts were once again suspended. They looked nervously at Bailey Hongzhuang, not knowing what price Bailey Hongzhuang wanted them to pay. Hand over the Qiankuan bag. Bailey Hongzhuang stretched out her white palm, her face cold and ruthless. Anyone who harbored evil intentions against them would have to pay the price. Chapter 1239. However, the winner was the king and the loser was the bandit. Now that all the decisions were in the hands of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, they had no room to refuse. Seeing that Liang Xinghui and the others did not move, Bailey Hongzhuang sneered, "It seems that you are still not aware enough." Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang, who was ready to make a move, Liang Xinghui and the others did not dare to hesitate and immediately handed the Qiankuan bags to Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang retracted her gaze and after glancing at the things in the Qiankuan bags, she nodded. "Miss, can we go now?" Liang Xinghui nervously looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. Today, he really had 8 lifetimes of bad luck, to actually provoke such a big trouble. Now he just wanted to disappear from Bailey Hongzhuang immediately. It would be best if he never met Bailey Hongzhuang again. However, Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled and said, "No." Hearing this, all the cultivators present looked at Bailey Hongzhuang doubtfully. They did not know what Bailey Hongzhuang was going to do. "Hand over the points too." With Bailey Hongzhuang's voice falling, the cultivators present all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in amazement. He didn't expect that Bailey Hongzhuang, who looked like she was above the common populace, would be so ruthless. At this time, even they could not help but sympathize with Liang Xinghui and the others. However, this group of guys also reaped what they had sown. It was already good that they could keep their lives. Zhu Qing, Xiang Wen and the others heard Bailey Hongzhuang's words and almost blacked out. This was simply a thief who wanted to take away all the useful things from them. Xia Jiqing and the others also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in amazement. Hongzhuang thought more than them. However, thinking about it carefully, they only felt that what Hongzhuang did was really right. They couldn't just fight for nothing. Interest was a must. In this way, everyone should know the price of offending them. Gong Shaoqing stared at Bailey Hongzhuang. He had to admit that Bailey Hongzhuang was much more experienced than them. No matter how unwilling Liang Xinghui and the others were, they had no other choice but to hand it over obediently under such circumstances. After Liang Xinghui and the others handed over all their points, Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at the points. She had to admit that Liang Xinghui and the others' fighting strength was not bad. The number of points they had was not small. After handing over a few points, Liang Xinghui and the others were somewhat discouraged. They had worked hard for a month to earn so many points. In just a short while, they had completely become paupers. "Miss, can we leave now?" Zhu Qing asked with a long face. He really wanted to slap himself. If he knew that this woman was so difficult to deal with, he definitely wouldn't have urged Liang Xinghui to find trouble with them. Now, he had fallen into a trap. Wait. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice sounded again. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's voice, Liang Xinghui and the others really wanted to cry. They had nothing to hand over. At this moment, they didn't even have food. They were completely paupers. Xia Jiqing and the others all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang strangely. They didn't know what Bailey Hongzhuang was going to do at this time. Chapter 1240. With Bailey Hongzhuang's words falling, Liang Xinghui and the others were like they had been pardoned. They picked up their qiankuan bags, stood up and ran. The way they ran was as if they were afraid that Bailey Hongzhuang would ask them to wait. Then, they would really want to die. Looking at Liang Xinghui and the others running away without any image, Xia Jiqing and the others couldn't help but laugh. Ha, you are really looking for trouble. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips had an enchanting smile. Her casual and indifferent appearance revealed a bit of unrestrained taste, but her deep black eyes still couldn't see the bottom. Her cold eyes looked around. The cultivators who had been watching immediately turned around and didn't dare to continue to look. Today, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were not to be provoked in their eyes. If they provoked them, it was tantamount to asking for trouble. Seeing that everyone was so tactful, Bailey Hongzhuang turned to Xia Jiqing and the others and said, "Let's go." Xia Jiqing and the others nodded. They were very tired, and then such a thing happened. They really should take a rest. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others continued to walk forward, and Baisher once again jumped on Bailey Hongzhuang's shoulder. That lazy and cute appearance was not fierce at all. However, now everyone no longer dared to treat Baisher as a monster without any threat. This kind of combat power was stronger than some cultivators. The surroundings were silent. Until Bailey Hongzhuang and the others walked away, the crowd couldn't help but speak. I don't know which dynasty this girl is from. Looking at this team, it should be a small dynasty. How can there be an Orange Realm cultivator? It's really strange. This woman should have a good origin. That contract beast, do you know what kind of monster it is? I don't know, I have never seen this monster before. Everyone was puzzled. Contracted beasts were not something an ordinary cultivator could have. Not only did Bailey Hongzhuang have one, but the level of this demon beast was also very high. Liang Xinghui and the others quickly fled. After entering the room, they locked the door tightly. Now, they had lost all their dignity and did not have the face to face the other cultivators. Brother Liang, what was in the qiankuan bag that woman threw to us just now? Zhu Cheng's eyes flashed with a curious light. He never thought that the woman would actually give them a qiankuan bag in the end. Liang Xinghui was also curious. He immediately opened the qiankuan bag and saw that it was full of dried food. There was nothing else except for food. Seeing that it was full of food, Zhu Qing couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. I didn't expect this girl to not be so bad. At least she left some food for us. We won't starve to death. Everyone sighed in their hearts. If they handed over their qiankuan pouches, they wouldn't even have anything to eat. That was really pushing them to a dead end. Listening to Zhu Cheng's words, Liang Xinghui slapped Zhu Cheng's head directly. Now that it's like this, you still say that she is good? Zhu Cheng said with a sad face, Brother Liang, I said the wrong thing. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others went all the way forward. After finding a suitable residence, they walked into the house together. Hongzhuang, what was in the qiankuan bag that you just gave them? Xia Jiqing asked curiously. Chapter 1241. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly, it's just some food inside. If we don't leave some food for them, I'm afraid they will find a chance to attack other cultivators. In fact, this was also a psychological tactic. Hearing this, Xia Jiqing also understood and immediately chuckled, Hongzhuang, you are really amazing. Although a group of troubles suddenly appeared, our harvest is not small. How about we divide these points equally? The delicate and beautiful face flashed with a charming light. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. If they relied on hunting monsters, they would have to spend some time to get these points. Everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and had their own thoughts. If it were not for Hongzhuang, with their strength, not only would they not be able to get these points, but they would also fall into the hands of Liang Xinghui and others. These points, they were not worthy of it. Hongzhuang, you have the majority of these points, we did not contribute much. Gong Shaoqing, who had always been quiet, suddenly spoke. Hongzhuang was so generous, they could not take advantage of her. They also understood the situation between Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen. Among all of them, Bailey Hongzhuang was under too much pressure. An ordinary person with no background wanted to become the wife of the young lord of Tiangang sect. The pressure she had to bear was definitely not something ordinary people could bear. Bailey Hongzhuang wanted to become a woman worthy of Di Beichen, and she must pay a lot of hardships. He believed that with Bailey Hongzhuang's ability, she could be a match for him, but it would take some time. A large part of the reason why Bailey Hongzhuang participated in this assessment competition was to prove her strength to others. Therefore, this result was very important to her. On the contrary, for them, this result was equally important, but compared with Bailey Hongzhuang, it was not so urgent. With Gong Shaoqing's voice falling, Xia Jiqing and the others also nodded. Gong Shaoqing is right, Hongzhuang, we can't divide these points equally. Xia Jiqing said. Looking at the appearance of Gong Shaoqing and the others, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with a strange light, but she quickly reacted and immediately said. We are a team, this is our spoils of war. Naturally, we have to divide it equally. Dongfang Yu waved his hand and said, Hongzhuang, in my opinion, these points should be divided according to the degree of effort. A serious look appeared on her white and delicate face, this matter can't be divided according to the degree of effort. Did you guys not do this battle? As soon as these words came out, Dongfang Yu and the others' expressions, they had indeed tried their best, but the effect was not that great. Seeing everyone's expression, Bailey Hongzhuang continued, since we are a team, there is no need to care about these things. No matter who is in trouble, we will do our best. That is enough. In this small, facing to they. Only in this way can they be invincible. If they did things according to Dongfang Yu's method, sooner or later, there would be problems. What's more, she really treated Dongfang Yu and the others as friends, so she didn't care about this kind of thing. Chapter 1242. At this moment, Gong Shaoqing and the rest secretly decided that Hongzhuang's matters would be their matters in the future. They would not hesitate to go through fire and water. Bailey Hongzhuang did not know what everyone was thinking and immediately distributed the points equally to everyone. In the small world, points could be snatched from each other. Because of this, the conflicts between cultivators were not small. After all, the points for killing a demonic beast were limited, but snatching points from cultivators was much faster. Now that they had only been in the small world for less than a month, everyone did not have many points on hand. Therefore, the competition was slightly smaller. Bailey Hongzhuang could imagine that the closer it was to the end of the assessment, the more horrifying the competition between the cultivators would be. There were almost no rules in the assessment. It was completely survival of the fittest, and strength spoke. Weak cultivators did not have any right to speak here. Many cultivators from small empires were completely wiped out here, and no one pitied them. And it was precisely this kind of environment that gave people a sense of urgency. Everyone was trying their best to raise their own strength, to guard against demonic beasts, and even more so against cultivators. Under such circumstances, the trust between team members was extremely important. Only in this way would they be able to go further in the competition. After the points were distributed evenly, Bailey Hongzhuang took out the Qiankuan bag. This group of people came from a middle-sized empire. I think there should be quite a lot of things in the Qiankuan bag. Everyone, see if there is anything you need. If there is anything you need, take it and distribute it. Once the Qiankuan bag was opened, most of it was food. However, there were also many other things such as elixirs, martial skills and medicinal herbs. Seeing the elixirs and martial skills, everyone's eyes lit up. To cultivators, the most difficult things to obtain were elixirs and martial skills. Bailey Hongzhuang sized up the elixirs in the Qiankuan bag. Most of them were energy recovery elixirs and healing elixirs. She had prepared quite a number of these. Let's split these elixirs, Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. Although these elixirs were prepared, energy recovery elixirs and healing elixirs were the most needed. In 2 years, everyone would have used up quite a lot. Therefore, it could be said that the more pills there were, the better. Hearing this, everyone took a few bottles each, and a joyful smile appeared on their faces. This mid-sized empire really lives up to its reputation. Everyone's pockets are full. Our harvest this time is not small. Bai Junyu's face rippled with an excited smile. These things were really the most important in the small world. Now that Liang Xinghui and the others had lost all these, they were probably extremely depressed right now. Hong Zhuang is still the best. I didn't think of this before. Xia Jiqing sighed, but I will know next time. Bailey Hongzhuang took out the martial skills from her Qiankuan bag and said, you can choose the martial skills you need. She knew that Gong Shaoqing and the others were lacking in martial skills. Martial skills were usually sold at sky-high prices at auctions. If one did not have a certain family background, it would be extremely difficult to obtain a martial skill just by relying on one's own efforts. Gong Shaoqing and the others were not weak, but the level of their martial skills was not high enough, so they could not fully display their strength. Chapter 1243. Liang Xinghui and the others didn't have many martial skills in their Qiankuan bags, but Gong Shaoqing and the other 3 all found martial skills that were suitable for them. Everyone looked at the martial skills in their hands with joy, but found that Bailey Hongzhuang didn't choose anything. Their expressions changed a bit. Hongzhuang, why don't you want anything? Xia Jiqing couldn't help but ask. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly, I have all these things. She had already looked at these martial skills. Most of them were yellow-level martial skills or even profound-level martial skills. She also had these martial skills. Instead of practicing these martial skills that she had never touched before, it was better to practice the martial skills that she had mastered in her previous life. She had enough experience, so it would be faster for her to cultivate again. What's more, although Liang Xinghui and the others came from a medium-sized dynasty, their martial skills were absolutely incomparable to the martial skills of the Bailey family. She didn't intend to neglect the essentials. In comparison, she was more interested in the medicinal herbs in the Qiankuan bag. This was because there were some medicinal herbs that were rarely seen in ordinary days. Hong Zhuang, you should at least choose something that you need, right? Dongfang you couldn't help but say. Hong Zhuang was clearly the youngest among them, but now she was the most modest and mature, which made them feel ashamed. Bailey Hongzhuang originally didn't think that this situation was a big deal because she really didn't need it. However, after looking at everyone's expressions, she realized that they didn't think so. She immediately smiled and said, how about giving these medicinal herbs to me? Following Bailey Hongzhuang's words, everyone nodded. No problem. In addition, Hongzhuang, do you need any of these martial skills? Gong Shaoqing handed over the Qiankuan bag in his hand. He knew that Hong Zhuang herself was an alchemist, and these ordinary pills were of no use to her. Seeing this, Xia Jiqing and the others also took out their own martial skills. Yes, Hong Zhuang, do you need any of these martial skills? As they spoke, everyone rushed to be the first to pass the martial skill to Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing everyone like this, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but chuckle. I'm telling the truth. I really don't need these martial skills. I have my own martial skills. You guys can take them and cultivate at ease. Hearing this, everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. After seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang didn't look like she was faking it, everyone was relieved. After everyone left, satisfied, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a smile. Thinking about it, everyone couldn't wait to practice their new martial skills. The level of these martial skills was higher than what everyone had cultivated before. If they could learn them, everyone's strength would increase. That would be the best. Master, are you going to let those guys off just like that? After everyone left, Xiao Hei's worried voice rang out. What they did today didn't leave any leeway for Liang Xinghui and the others, not to mention that they had snatched the Qianquan bag and points. Needless to say, Liang Xinghui and the others must hate them to the extreme. If they tried their best to find trouble, it would also be troublesome. With a trace of seriousness in her dark eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang said, "It's time for the black-white double demons to make a move." Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai's faces suddenly showed excitement. Master, what do you want us to do? Chapter 1244. Go and see what those guys are planning to do. If they have completely cut off their evil intentions, then forget it. If they still want revenge, then cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. There was a cold and cruel light in her deep phoenix eyes. If you cut the weeds and don't eliminate the roots, they will grow again when the spring breeze blows. She had always been very clear about this truth. However, Xia Jiqing and the others were all students of the academy before, and they did not understand the real cruelty. She could not force them to accept it, and could only wait for them to truly understand it in the future. The small world had never been a peaceful place. On the contrary, it was extremely cruel here. In 2 years' time, they would definitely understand. There were many things that needed to be done by oneself. Just like when she went to the Bloodland Abyss, Di Beichen was worried about her. The reason why she finally threw a Qianquan bag to Liang Xinghui and the others was to make them give up on the idea of revenge. This was a psychological tactic. At least she had not forced Liang Xinghui and the others into a dead end. Even so, she still could not guarantee that those guys would completely give up on the idea of revenge. Therefore, she needed Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai to go and take a look. With Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai's ability to change their size at will, they were born to be spies. No one would find them at all. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai's eyes also lit up. It seemed that their master had the same idea as them. Don't worry, master, leave this task to us. Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai said excitedly. This kind of thing could not be easier for them. Baisher blinked his big watery eyes and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, saying, Master, I want to go too. Bailey Hongzhuang touched Baisher's little head. Without Baisher's bite today, today's battle would not have been over so quickly. Baisher, your performance today is already very powerful. You don't have to go. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved into a charming smile. Today, Baisher's image was also well known by everyone. If he went out now, he would be immediately recognized by everyone. If some cultivators who had evil intentions towards White Lion were to see it, they would probably think of ways to capture White Lion. Bailey Hongzhuang's praise was obviously very effective on Baisher. Baisher obediently lay on Bailey Hongzhuang's lap. All right then. Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai immediately walked out of the house. They had to understand the situation as soon as possible. Bailey Hongzhuang took out a few demon crystals and handed them to Baisher. This little guy's appetite was increasing day by day. According to Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai's guesses, White Lion was not far from breaking through again. Therefore, Bailey Hongzhuang had been feeding White Lion more and more demon crystals. Breakthroughs often required a lot of energy. Although Baisher was still very young, she believed that Baisher knew what he was doing. If Baisher's strength could increase, it would also be a good thing. After Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai walked out of the house, they quickly found the place where Liang Xinghui and the others were staying. Because of what had happened previously, almost all the cultivators in the city were talking about it. Many people were also paying attention to the tightly shut doors of Liang Xinghui and the others, guessing when they would come out. Therefore, Xiao He and Xiao Bai immediately found their destination. When Xiao He and Xiao Bai entered the house through the crack in the door, they saw Liang Xinghui and the others gathered together. Their expressions were very ugly. "You're all injured. You'd better recuperate." Chapter 1245. Everyone is laughing at us now. Won't we be embarrassing ourselves if we go out now? Xiang Wen's face was filled with dissatisfaction. She was the most unhappy among everyone. She was already dissatisfied with Liang Xinghui and Zhu Cheng's plan. Now that this had happened, it was clear that her previous judgment was right. Hearing Xiang Wen's words, Liang Xinghui and the rest's faces were extremely ugly. Speaking of which, this matter was completely caused by their evil thoughts. That woman in white has gone overboard. We must avenge her. Xiang Wen could not hide the anger on her face. She had never suffered such humiliation since she was young. When she thought of Bailey Hongzhuang's high and mighty appearance, she was even more furious. She only wanted to teach Bailey Hongzhuang a lesson. Zhu Cheng's face revealed a troubled expression. That woman in white is so powerful. We're no match for her at all. I advise you to give up on this idea. Indeed. That woman in white is already merciful enough to let us go today. If we continue to cause trouble, we won't even be able to keep our lives. At least she left us some food. Compared to the other opponents, this is already very good. Everyone spoke out. At this moment, they did not even have the slightest intention of becoming enemies with Bailey Hongzhuang. Under the absolute disparity in strength, seeking revenge was simply courting death. In order to save their lives today, they did not hesitate to endure this humiliation. If they still wanted to seek revenge, there would definitely be something wrong with their brains. Seeing everyone's attitude, Xiang Wen could not help but be anxious. Why are all of you so useless? Liang Xinghui glanced at Xiang Wen and said, since things have come to this, Xiang Wen, you don't have to say any more. Today's matter can only be considered as my own fault. Even though my Qiankuan bag and points have been snatched away, it's still early before the assessment ends. We still have a chance. Just as everyone had said, Liang Xinghui had also given up on the idea of revenge. In the end, he was the one who had started this matter. It was already fortunate that the woman had let them go. Instead of seeking revenge, why not completely destroy the other cultivators? This way, they could quickly make up for their points. Seeing that everyone had the same idea, Xiang Wen was even more furious. However, there was nothing she could do about it. Xiao He and Xiao Bai looked at each other when they saw this scene. A sly smile appeared in their eyes. It seemed that they had overestimated the courage of Liang Xinghui and the others. Now, they didn't have to worry about their revenge. Soon, Xiao He and Xiao Bai returned to Bailey Hongzhuang's room. Master, you can rest assured now. Liang Xinghui and the others have no intention of taking revenge, Xiao He said with a smile. Xiao Bai told Bailey Hongzhuang about the conversation between Liang Xinghui and the others. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. In that case, we can rest assured. This result was more or less what she had expected, because there was a big gap between the strength of Liang Xinghui and the others. Even if Liang Xinghui's strength was only at level 9 of the Red Realm, it was not realistic for him to take revenge on them. Bailey Hongzhuang took out Xiao He and Xiao Bai's dry food and began to cultivate. During this month, they had been hunting monsters during the day and did not have much time to cultivate. Chapter 1246. Liang Xinghui and the others only felt that it was too shameful to stay in Xingyi City, so they got up and left early the next morning. They were not willing to stay in Xingyi City for even half a second. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others stayed in Xingyi City for a few more days. Xia Jiqing and the other three had just obtained the martial arts technique and needed some time to cultivate. Therefore, in the past few days, Xia Jiqing and the other three all closed their doors and began their retreat. Bailey Hongzhuang understood the situation and did not ask much. She also began to cultivate her martial arts technique. 5 days later, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others once again set off on their journey. After leaving Xingyi City, the people walked into the forest. Killing the monsters was something they had to do. Whether it was for the Xingxian continent or for their achievements, it was also for Baisher's food. Bailey Hongzhuang found that after a few days, Baisher's appetite was getting bigger and bigger. It could be seen that he was getting closer and closer to a breakthrough. Therefore, she wanted to try her best to find some higher-level monsters to feed Baisher. On this day, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others walked in the dense forest. The sun shone through the gaps in the trees and faintly shone on everyone. The 5 of them held their weapons tightly. Their clothes were a bit messy and there were traces of the previous battle. After staying in the small world for a month, everyone had a strong feeling about the fighting power and speed of the monsters here. Fortunately, these monsters were trapped in the small world. The level of fighting here was completely different from the monsters in the outside world. They had to be very careful to avoid injury. The only thing to be thankful for was that so far they had not met any monsters that were too strong. However, every time they explored the forest, they were still nervous. Suddenly, Baisher's eyes flashed with a light. He looked ahead with a burning gaze, as if he had seen something extraordinary. "Master, follow me," Baisher said excitedly. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were filled with doubt. "Baisher, what did you find? There seems to be a treasure." With a leap, White Lion charged forward. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang also followed closely and said to Gong Shaoqing and the others, "Baisher seems to have found something. Let's go and take a look." Gong Shaoqing and the others immediately reacted. They immediately sped up and followed Bailey Hongzhuang all the way to the front. The 3 beasties were in the front, with Bailey Hongzhuang following closely behind. Xia Jiqing and the others were not too far behind. "I also feel the existence of a treasure." Blackie's eyes were filled with excitement. As a beast king, White Lion's ability to sense natural treasures was stronger than theirs. Xiao Baisher, Baisher and Baisher, Baisher and Baisher, Baisher and Baisher and Xiao Bai. It should be a medicinal herb. Bailey Hongzhuang followed behind the 3 beasties. After hearing their words, her deep phoenix eyes were filled with excitement. Baisher was Baisher. A medicinal herb that could make the 3 beasts so excited was definitely not of a low level. The medicinal herbs in the small world forest were much richer than the outside world because there were too many people picking medicinal herbs in the outside world. On the contrary, there were very few medicinal herbs in the small world. Not for other reasons, but because there were not many cultivators in the small world who knew about medicinal herbs. However, all the cultivators who could participate in the assessment competition were strong. Most of them put all their time into cultivation and did not pay attention to other things. Chapter 1247. In this month's time, Bailey Hongzhuang also found a lot of medicinal materials that were quite expensive on weekdays, and they were all collected by her. For her, this small world was a big treasure, and many medicinal materials were very difficult to find in the outside world. Maybe there would be some at the auction, but it would not be a simple thing to buy them. Of course, what she hoped for the most was to find medicinal materials that were useful to Bewitching. They needed a total of 4 medicinal materials, and so far they had only found 1. She only hoped to help Bewitching solve this hidden danger as soon as possible. Only after his physique was completely changed, Bewitching's real potential could be completely broken out, and there would be no side effects. The 3 beasts' vision had always been very high, and this medicinal material could make the 3 beasts so excited, which already proved that this medicinal material was not simple. Thinking of this, Bailey Hongzhuang's speed also increased again. Although they had not met other cultivators in the forest so far today, they could not guarantee that there were no cultivators in front of them. If other cultivators were to snatch away the medicinal herbs first, then it would really be enough to make him regret. After Xia Jiqing and the others saw the three beasts and Beili Hongzhuang's rapid speed, their yuan power surged quickly, and now they increasingly realized the importance of speed. After a while, Beili Hongzhuang's nose also smelled a strong medicinal fragrance. Smelling this medicinal fragrance, Beili Hongzhuang only felt that her spirit was shaken, and there was an indescribable comfort in her limbs. This fragrance, Beili Hongzhuang murmured, she seemed to have smelled this fragrance before. In the next second, Beili Hongzhuang's eyes suddenly lit up, and there was an indescribable excitement in her heart. Is it the blood ginseng fruit? There was a hint of sweetness in this rich fragrance, which was the unique direction of the blood ginseng fruit. She had smelled it once before, and it had been hard to forget. The blood ginseng fruit was really an extremely precious medicinal material, and it was very helpful for cultivators to improve their cultivation. However, the growth conditions of the blood ginseng fruit were very special. Most of them grew on cliffs, and there were very few of them. It was impossible for ordinary people to find the blood ginseng fruit. If they could find the blood ginseng fruit in this small world, then they would be really lucky. Under the lead of the three beasts, Beili Hongzhuang and the others finally arrived at their destination after running for a while. Hongzhuang, what kind of medicinal herb is this? It smells so good. Xia Jiqing's eyes flashed with amazement. She never knew much about medicinal herbs, but this fragrance made her feel refreshed. Even the exhaustion from the journey had been alleviated a lot. Beili Hongzhuang smelled the medicinal fragrance but did not see the blood ginseng fruit. She immediately began to search. If my guess is correct, this should be the blood ginseng fruit. After a while, Beili Hongzhuang and the others arrived at the top of the mountain. Seeing Beili Hongzhuang's actions, Gong Shaoqing and the others also helped to search. Master, here it is. The voices of the three beasts immediately sounded. As beasts, they were more sensitive to medicinal herbs. Hearing this, Beili Hongzhuang immediately walked to the side of the three beasts. She found that on the other side of the mountain was a cliff. In her line of sight, a short plant survived in the crevice. Although it grew between the cliffs, its tough appearance had a different kind of toughness. Chapter 1248. The blood-red blood ginseng fruit was tender and beautiful. It was transparent like a ruby, exquisite and magnificent. Just by looking at it, it gave people an indescribable shock. Xia Jiqing and the others also saw the blood ginseng fruit. They had heard of the famous blood ginseng fruit before, but they didn't expect that they would see it with their own eyes one day. It must be known that with the preciousness of the blood ginseng fruit, they usually wouldn't even have a chance to get it. However, now that the blood ginseng fruit had appeared in front of them and would soon become their possession, how could they not be excited? Beili Hongzhuang looked at the blood ginseng fruit. Obviously, this blood ginseng fruit had just matured. Precious herbs often emitted a strong fragrance when they matured. The fragrance of this blood ginseng fruit was so strong, it was obvious that it had just matured. However, Baisher had discovered this fragrance so early. It could be seen that he was sensitive to heaven and earth treasures. She hadn't known that Baisher had this ability before, but this ability was very suitable for treasure hunting. Hongzhuang, this blood ginseng fruit grows on the cliff, and the cliff is so smooth that it is very difficult to find a place to stand. How are we going to pick the blood ginseng fruit? After a short moment of excitement, Xia Jiqing frowned. Rare medicinal herbs often grew in some special places, but it was also because of special living conditions that rare medicinal herbs could grow. Listening to Xia Jiqing's words, everyone recovered from their joy. The current situation was indeed very difficult. Under the cliff was a bottomless abyss. Once they fell, they would really die without a burial place. Beili Hongzhuang's eyebrows wrinkled. She carefully looked at the situation on the cliff and said, "I'll go." Hongzhuang, this is too dangerous. Dongfang Yu quickly said. The cliff was so smooth that even if Beili Hongzhuang was stronger than them, the danger was also great. If they were not careful, the price they would pay was not something they could accept. Bailey Hongzhuang took out a hemp rope from her qiankuan bag and said, "Fortunately, I prepared this." Looking at the hemp rope, Dong Fangyu and the others' eyes lit up. If they had this hemp rope, this situation would undoubtedly be resolved. Hongzhuang went down. With so many people pulling the rope, even if Hongzhuang didn't grab the cliff, they could still pull Hongzhuang up. "Hongzhuang, you are really amazing. You even prepared these things," Xia Jiqing said excitedly. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. She had never thought about this before. Speaking of which, this hemp rope was prepared for her by Di Beichen. Before participating in the assessment, Di Beichen had told her that there were many rare herbs in the pocket world. Because it grew under dense essence energy all year round, the medicinal effects would be reduced. Even the time it took to grow would be shortened. In addition, there were very few people in the small world, and many cultivators did not know enough about it. Therefore, the possibility of encountering a natural treasure was not small. After hearing Di Beichen's words, she had asked Di Beichen to prepare a set of tools for digging herbs for her. When she looked at the cliff, she did not think of this point. It was only when she was looking for a shovel and other tools in her qiankuan bag that she suddenly found this hemp rope. For the current situation, it was an excellent tool. "Since we have everything, let's start," Bailey Hongzhuang said. Chapter 1249. Bailey Hongzhuang wrapped the hemp rope around her waist. After confirming that it was secure, everyone pulled the other end of the hemp rope while Bailey Hongzhuang climbed up the cliff. The cliff was indeed difficult to support. Bailey Hongzhuang grabbed the rocks on the cliff with both hands and slowly approached the blood ginseng fruit. The closer she got to the blood ginseng fruit, the stronger the medicinal fragrance became. Bailey Hongzhuang's every movement was soul-stirring. Her body was like a bottomless abyss, white and misty. It was impossible to know how deep it was. Gong Shaoqing and the others held the hemp rope tightly. Their eyes were filled with worry and nervousness. They were afraid that something would go wrong. Fortunately, Bailey Hongzhuang's every move was cautious and careful. Even in such a dangerous situation, Bailey Hongzhuang was still very calm. Step by step, she was not anxious. Finally, Bailey Hongzhuang successfully came to the side of the blood ginseng fruit. A smile appeared on everyone's faces when they saw this scene. When Hongzhuang could successfully pick the blood ginseng fruit, they only needed to pull Hongzhuang up. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the blood ginseng fruit tree in front of her. It was a very old blood ginseng fruit tree. There were 5 blood ginseng fruits on it. If it was a young blood ginseng fruit tree, it would be impossible to grow so many blood ginseng fruits. Their luck today was really good. Soon, Bailey Hongzhuang plucked the 5 blood ginseng fruits from the blood ginseng fruit tree. As for the blood ginseng fruit tree, Bailey Hongzhuang thought for a moment and decided not to take it with her. After all, besides the cliff, the blood ginseng fruit tree could not be stored anywhere else. Then, Bailey Hongzhuang said to Gong Shaoqing and the others, "Okay, pull me up." Gong Shaoqing and the others nodded and immediately began to pull Bailey Hongzhuang. However, at this moment, a rough and fierce roar suddenly sounded from behind Gong Shaoqing and the others. Rumble. A huge sound came from a distance. It was extremely fast and in the blink of an eye, it came from a distance to Gong Shaoqing and the others. When Gong Shaoqing and the others saw the situation behind them, they could not help but take a breath. Heavenly Spirit Bear. Gong Shaoqing looked at the heavenly bear that suddenly appeared in horror. The strength of the heavenly spirit bear was equivalent to a rank 5 Orange Realm monster beast. They did not expect that they would encounter a heavenly spirit bear here. The heavenly spirit bear's eyes were bloodshot, and after seeing Gong Shaoqing's actions, it charged towards Gong Shaoqing like a madman. When Xia Jiqing and the others saw the sudden appearance of the heavenly spirit bear, they were dumbfounded. Such a powerful monster beast, they were not its opponent at all. Dongfang Yu, we will stop the heavenly spirit bear now. Jun Yu, quickly pull Hongzhuang up. Gong Shaoqing quickly said. In the blink of an eye, the moment the heavenly spirit bear rushed over, Gong Shaoqing also rushed towards the heavenly spirit bear with his weapon. In such a critical moment, he had no choice but to do this. Behind them was a cliff. Once the heavenly spirit bear rushed over, all of them would fall into the cliff and be doomed. Dongfang Yu's reaction was also very fast. After listening to Gong Shaoqing's words, he immediately took out his weapon and attacked together with Gong Shaoqing. The heavenly spirit bear saw that the two humans dared to attack it. Its blood-red eyes flashed with a fierce light and it slammed its claws directly. Chapter 1250. Boom. Although Gong Shaoqing's reaction speed was extremely fast, the heavenly spirit bear's claw was completely crushing. Boom. Gong Shaoqing's body fell heavily to the ground. The huge power of the heavenly spirit bear was simply irresistible. Even if he had tried his best to resist, the power was still transmitted to his body, and his internal organs were in severe pain. After the heavenly spirit bear slapped Gong Shaoqing, it rushed to Xia Jiqing and the others at the edge of the cliff. Damn it! The heavenly spirit bear's mood could be said to be extremely depressed. It had guarded the blood ginseng fruit for so long, and it had finally matured, but now it was taken away by a group of guys. This was something it absolutely could not tolerate. Dongfang Yu also went up, but he could not block the heavenly spirit bear's slap. His body fell heavily to the ground, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The gap between the red realm and the yellow realm was too big. Coupled with the terrifying power of the heavenly spirit bear, he was simply not the opponent of the heavenly spirit bear. The three beasts looked at each other, and their faces were all covered with a dignified color. This heavenly spirit bear should be the guardian beast of the blood ginseng fruit. I didn't see the guardian beast before, so it was here. Xiao Hei's eyes flashed with a complicated and puzzled light. Generally, there would be a contract beast guarding the heavenly treasure. For a treasure like the blood ginseng fruit, there must be a contract beast guarding it. It was just that when they came here before, they did not see the figure of a contract beast. They felt a little strange, and thought that the situation in this small world was different from the outside world. There were no contract beasts here. Now it seemed that the situation was not so. They just did not know what this heavenly spirit bear was doing before, and it was not guarding the blood ginseng fruit. This heavenly spirit bear's eyes are blood red. Obviously, it has gone berserk, and its strength has greatly increased. It is not easy to deal with it. Xiao Bai frowned. The strength of the monsters in this small world was much stronger than the monsters in the outside world. After going berserk, the monsters' fighting strength would greatly increase, and their intelligence would degenerate, leaving only their fighting instincts. As a result, it was even more difficult to deal with it. There is no way, we can only fight. Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai looked at each other. They could not let their master be in danger. Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai attacked the Sky Spirit Bear from both sides. They were both Orange Realm rank 5, so they had no problem dealing with a normal Sky Spirit Bear. However, it was not that simple to deal with the Heavenly Spirit Bear after it went berserk. Bang! Xiao Hei turned into a streak of white light, and her movements were extremely fast as she attacked the Heavenly Spirit Bear. After kicking the Heavenly Spirit Bear, Xiao Hei landed beside the Heavenly Spirit Bear. The Heavenly Spirit Bear originally did not put Xiao Hei in its eyes. It did not expect this fellow's attack to be so powerful. The sudden pain made it even more furious. Roar! The Heavenly Spirit Bear roared and fiercely charged towards Xiao Hei. It wanted to tear this guy into pieces. And when the Heavenly Spirit Bear attacked Xiao Hei, Xiao Bai's foot also fiercely kicked the Heavenly Spirit Bear. They could only use their agility to fight against this humongous fellow. Bang bang bang. Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai attacked the Heavenly Spirit Bear from both sides. They could only hope to stop the heavenly spirit bear from moving forward so that their master could catch up. Chapter 1251. Bailey Hongzhuang did not know what was going on up there, but she knew that enemies had appeared, and the fluctuations of the battle were extremely terrifying. She climbed up the cliff, and the rocks above rustled under the fluctuations of the battle. Just by looking at the situation, she knew that the situation was very serious, and quickly climbed up the cliff. Not far away, a group of cultivators were looking at Gong Shaoqing and the others who were fighting with the heavenly spirit bear, their eyes filled with a complicated light. I didn't expect that such a group of people would suddenly appear. It's really like the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Lu Wendy's face was filled with dissatisfaction. They spent so much effort to lure the heavenly spirit bear away, just to get the blood ginseng fruit. They did not expect that halfway through, someone would come and snatch the blood ginseng fruit before them. Wasn't this making them work hard for nothing? I was wondering why the heavenly spirit bear suddenly came back after being lured away by us, so it's because someone took the blood ginseng fruit. Wei Yuanqing spoke out. Su Ilian's face was filled with displeasure. We spent so much effort. We can't let this group of people take advantage of us. We must get the blood ginseng fruit back. The blood ginseng fruit was a medicinal herb that could increase a cultivator's strength. No cultivator could ignore it. As long as they got the blood ginseng fruit, their strength would increase by another step. In this small world, the improvement of one's strength was just too important. The heavenly spirit bear is not easy to deal with. Now that this group of people has helped us get rid of the heavenly spirit bear, it's not too late for us to make a move. Fu Yiyu, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke out, his deep eyes flashing with a trace of malice. Hearing Fu Yiyu's words, Su Ilian and the others all smiled. They originally thought that Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were the oriole, but now it seemed that they were the real oriole. It was not that easy to take away what they had set their eyes on. Soon, they would let this group of people who suddenly appeared know the taste of drawing water with a bamboo basket. Yiyu, should we take advantage of this opportunity to catch them all? Su Ilian could not help but ask. Right now, the group of cultivators were locked in a fierce battle with the heavenly spirit bear. As long as they made a move now, the group of cultivators would be finished. Fu Yeyu looked at the situation not far away, shook his head and said, although the strength of this group of cultivators is not strong, the strength of those two demonic beasts is very strong. If we make a move now, if the heavenly spirit bear's attention is diverted, then the unlucky ones will be us. Fu Yeyu's lips curled into a sneer. Since we want to be the oriole, then we naturally have to wait for them to solve all their problems before we pick up the ready-made ones. Lu Wendy and the others looked at each other and smiled. Originally, they should be the ones to deal with this group of cultivators. They did not expect that a group of scapegoats would appear, saving them a lot of effort. Xia Jiqing and Bai Junyu finally pulled Bailey Hongzhuang up, and both of their foreheads were sweating. This was not because it took too much effort to pull Bailey Hongzhuang up, but because he was too nervous about the upcoming battle. Heavenly Spirit Bear, that was a really powerful demonic beast. When Bailey Hongzhuang saw the scene in front of her, a trace of surprise appeared on her pretty face. She did not expect that a heavenly spirit bear would suddenly appear. It was really unexpected. Chapter 1252. Looking carefully, Bailey Hongzhuang discovered the heavenly spirit bear's blood-red eyes and immediately understood. Berserk was a special state unique to demonic beasts. Usually, demonic beasts would enter this state when they were greatly stimulated or when they were fighting with their lives on the line. Once a demonic beast entered this state, they would only have the instinct to fight. Their intelligence would weaken a lot, and their strength and attack power would increase. Because of this, even when Bai Shi released his aura, the heavenly spirit bear did not react. Her clear eyes were filled with a trace of doubt. It was not difficult to see that the heavenly spirit bear was the guardian beast of the blood ginseng fruit. However, the heavenly spirit bear was not there before, and when it appeared, it was in a berserk state. This was a bit strange. Could it be that the heavenly spirit bear had been stimulated before? Otherwise, it shouldn't be in this situation. Not far away, Fu Yiyu and the others saw Bailey Hongzhuang, and a trace of surprise appeared on their faces. They had always thought that the person on the cliff should be a man. They did not expect it to be a woman, and an extremely beautiful one at that. This team really doesn't know how to be protective of the fairer sex. They actually let such a beauty pick the blood ginseng fruit. If it were us, we would definitely not do this. Lu Wende ridiculed. Wei Yuanqing's face revealed a trace of a smile. This is a beauty of the highest quality. However, it seems that she is not easy to deal with. Their vision was far superior to Liang Xinghui and the others. Just by looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's cold expression and calm eyes, they could tell that this woman's strength was not ordinary. If it was an ordinary woman, she would not have the courage to climb the cliff, let alone be able to calmly analyze the situation after seeing the heavenly spirit bear. Su Ilyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, who was not far away. This woman indeed had a special trait that attracted men. However, she did not know how strong she was. Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu were obviously not the heavenly spirit bear's opponent. After a few clashes, their faces were pale and they did not have the strength to continue fighting. Under the absolute difference in strength, all efforts were in vain. At this moment, there were only 3 beasts attacking the heavenly spirit bear, but the heavenly spirit bear's skin was thick, and even if they attacked with all their might, the heavenly spirit bear was unable to cause much damage. On the other hand, White Lion's strength was not comparable to Xiao He and Xiao Bai. Although its reaction speed was very fast, it could not avoid being injured under the heavenly spirit bear's crazy attacks. In the blink of an eye, Bailey Hongzhuang had already understood everything after a simple glance at the situation in front of her. With a thought, the colored glass sword appeared in her hand. With a leap, Bailey Hongzhuang's yuan qi surged, and without hesitation, she attacked the heavenly spirit bear. Ding! The glass sword pierced the heavenly spirit bear's body, but Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that the heavenly spirit bear's body was abnormally hard, and couldn't be pierced like normal. With a surge of yuan qi, the tip of the glass sword exploded with a burst of bright yuan qi light. Following that, Bailey Hongzhuang stabbed again, and the glass sword finally successfully pierced the heavenly spirit bear's body. The sudden pain caused the heavenly spirit bear to roar crazily, and a pair of blood-red eyes stared at Bailey Hongzhuang. Although the 3 little ones had made it feel a little pain, it didn't feel much of it. However, this stab was too much for it to bear. Roar! Chapter 1253. Seeing the heavenly spirit bear's attack, Bailey Hongzhuang quickly used shadow shifting and directly dodged the palm of the heavenly spirit bear. At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang once again stabbed out. To deal with a monster like the heavenly spirit bear, she had no other way but to attack like this. Bailey Hongzhuang's attack hit again, the glass sword was pulled out and the blood of the heavenly spirit bear sprayed out. The pain made the heavenly spirit bear almost crazy, and it immediately attacked Bailey Hongzhuang like crazy. Even though Bailey Hongzhuang's strength and power couldn't be compared with the heavenly spirit bear, her speed was extremely fast. Shadow shifting was a good martial skill, and under Bailey Hongzhuang's skillful use, the heavenly spirit bear's attack was very dense, but it still didn't fall on Bailey Hongzhuang's body. After seeing this scene, Wei Yuanqing's eyes were filled with a trace of amazement. I didn't expect the strength of this woman in white to be very good, the heavenly spirit bear's attack can't even defeat her. This woman's combat experience is very rich. The heavenly spirit bear's intelligence is now declining, and she can't deal with the heavenly spirit bear like this. Fu Yeyu said slowly. Lu Wende nodded slightly, he also agreed with Fu Yeyu's statement. They didn't expect the strength of this team to be so good. Fortunately, they were hiding in the back. If this group of cultivators arrived when they were fighting with the heavenly spirit bear, the situation would be terrible. Fortunately, they were the ones who reaped the benefits. At the same time as Bailey Hongzhuang attacked, the three beasts also attacked, but with Baisher's current cultivation, he was not the opponent of the heavenly spirit bear. On the contrary, he suffered some injuries under the heavenly spirit bear's slap. Xia Jiqing and Bai Junyu only wanted to help Bailey Hongzhuang, but they were stopped by Bailey Hongzhuang. Jiqing, you guys take care of Gong Shaoqing and Dongfang Yu. Looking at the actions of Xia Jiqing and the others, Bailey Hongzhuang quickly said. The strength of this heavenly spirit bear had reached such a level, even if Xia Jiqing and Bai Junyu fought, they would not have any results, they would just be injured. Moreover, she always felt that the heavenly spirit bear's situation was a little strange, perhaps there were some other problems. Therefore, it was better for Xia Jiqing and Bai Junyu to not do anything. Master, we can't go on like this. Xiao He frowned. Although Master could injure the heavenly spirit bear, the heavenly spirit bear's skin was thick. As long as it didn't injure its vitals, it would only cause it some pain. If that was the case, it would be meaningless. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly as she sized up the heavenly spirit bear with a cold gaze. Even though she was not as powerful as the heavenly spirit bear, she had no choice but to give it a try. In the next second, Bailey Hongzhuang focused her mind and the elemental force in her body surged out. The aura of an Orange Realm Level 2 exploded instantly. Bailey Hongzhuang's hands flipped and a complex seal was formed between her hands, mysterious and full of power. As Bailey Hongzhuang's hands formed more and more seals, the elemental force in the surrounding air also had a few changes. After the heavenly spirit bear felt the changes in the elemental force, it became even more violent and immediately rushed to Bailey Hongzhuang again. After seeing this situation, the three beasts quickly blocked it. No matter what, they had to let Master finish her martial arts. Chapter 1254. The huge cyan palm was completely composed of flames, and the temperature was as hot as magma. The surrounding energy became extremely violent with the appearance of the cyan palm. Feeling the violent energy, the heavenly spirit bear was restless, its eyes were blood red, and it attacked the three beasts crazily. Sacred Cyan Flame Palm. Bailey Hongzhuang shouted coldly, and the huge flame palm slammed toward the heavenly spirit bear. The three beasts immediately retreated after noticing Bailey Hongzhuang's actions, and the heavenly spirit bear panicked after seeing the sacred cyan flame palm. Its huge palm also met the sacred cyan flame palm. Bang! An earth-shattering sound rang out, sparks flew, and heat waves were monstrous. Roar! The heavenly spirit bear roared, and its palms kept slamming out. Everyone only saw the bright green light being annihilated by the smoke after touching the heavenly spirit bear. The ground trembled, and the smoke covered the sky, blocking their vision. Xia Jiqing and the others' eyes were locked on the center of the battle. The heavenly spirit bear was not an easy monster to deal with. The strength of the heavenly spirit bear after going berserk was almost at the 7th level of the Orange Realm. Although the heavenly spirit bear did not know martial arts, its true strength was still extremely terrifying. The three beasts stood beside Bailey Hongzhuang, and one person and three beasts looked at the situation in the smoke. Fu Yeyu and the others not far away saw Bailey Hongzhuang's martial arts and their expressions changed a bit. This sacred cyan flame palm should be a profound level martial arts, but the power of this profound level martial arts is much stronger than the average profound level martial arts. It seems that this woman's foundation is not simple. Lu Wendy's eyes flashed with a complicated light. The difference between a profound level martial arts and a yellow level martial arts seemed to be one level, but the value of the two was completely different. Martial skills that were also profound grade martial skills but were much more powerful were even rarer. With their ability, it was not difficult to get a profound level martial arts, but such a powerful one was very rare. Su Yilyan's face was filled with a touch of interest. This martial arts looks good. As long as we get rid of them, this martial arts will be mine. It seems that our harvest this time will be great. Wei Yuanqing crossed his arms, and his expression was a bit proud. They originally thought that they were lucky that the blood ginseng fruit was sent to them, but they did not expect there to be other gifts. This heavenly spirit bear will not be so easy to deal with. My sacred cyan flame palm, I'm afraid it will go berserk, we have to be careful. Bailey Hongzhuang. She had a strong heavenly spirit bear's skin and skin. This fellow's skin was thick, and its strength was astonishing. The azure flame Saint Palm would cause some damage to the heavenly spirit bear, but it would not be fatal. The following battle would be even more fierce. Roar. Was spirit 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 heavenly spirit 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 heave spirit 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 white 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 white. Blood, the blood. Was also of the blood 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 red, white white blood of. The. It was a bloody mess. It was obvious that Bailey Hongzhuang's attack had caused quite a bit of damage to the heavenly spirit bear. The heavenly spirit bear's scarlet eyes stared at Bailey Hongzhuang, its eyes flashing with an ominous glint as if it wanted to eat Bailey Hongzhuang. Hiss. Chapter 1255. The heavenly spirit bear charged towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Now, it only had eyes for Bailey Hongzhuang. Ever since it was born, it had never been in such a sorry state. Its body was in excruciating pain. It must tear this despicable human into pieces. Seeing the heavenly spirit bear closing in on her, Bailey Hongzhuang's expression turned serious. She used fulgurating shadows and dodged the heavenly spirit bear's attack. However, the heavenly spirit bear's attack still followed closely behind her. Obviously, Bailey Hongzhuang had attracted all of the heavenly spirit bear's hatred. Master, be careful. Xiao He quickly shouted and charged towards the heavenly spirit bear. The heavenly spirit bear seemed to have identified Bailey Hongzhuang and only wanted to kill Bailey Hongzhuang. It did not care about Xiao He's attack. Xiao Bai and Bai Shi went up to help. This big guy was not easy to deal with. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with wisdom and calmness. The heavenly spirit bear was already strong. Luckily, the sacred green flame palm had injured the heavenly spirit bear and weakened its strength. Xiao He and Xiao Bai's attacks landed on the heavenly spirit bear. However, the heavenly spirit bear did not care at all. It was completely focused on Bailey Hongzhuang. It must kill this despicable woman. Rumble. With every step the heavenly spirit bear took, the ground shook violently. Everyone stood at the edge of the cliff. They felt that the ground was shaking so violently that it could break at any time. The heavenly spirit bear closed in. Even though Bailey Hongzhuang was extremely fast, the heavenly spirit bear only used its body to block Bailey Hongzhuang and forced Bailey Hongzhuang into a corner. Bang! The heavenly spirit bear's huge paw attacked Bailey Hongzhuang again. The huge paw was like a black mass that slapped towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Once Bailey Hongzhuang was hit by this palm, no one doubted that Bailey Hongzhuang would be badly mutilated. Master! Hongzhuang! The three beasts and Xia Jiqing and the others spoke at the same time. Their faces were filled with horror, and their hearts seemed to stop beating in an instant. An unspeakable sense of fear spread in their hearts. Roar! At this moment, the white lion's deafening roar spread out. The loud and shocking voice entered everyone's ears, and the entire world seemed to have a moment of silence. When the heavenly spirit bear heard the white lion's roar, it was stunned for a moment. Its eyes were still blood red, but it was instinctively afraid of the roar. In this short moment of stagnation, Bailey Hongzhuang's figure had already jumped out of the encirclement. Not far away, Fu Yeyu and the others heard the white lion's roar and their expressions suddenly changed. When they heard this roar, they only felt their hearts tremble, as if there was a natural pressure spreading from their hearts, making them tremble. What kind of monster beast is this? Its voice is so amazing. Su Yilian's face was filled with an incredible color. It was the first time she had heard such a terrifying roar, and she had never heard it from a contract beast. It was really shocking. Before, this little guy showed the fighting power of the 5th level of the Red Realm, which was already very amazing. I didn't expect the roar to be so amazing. It seems that it is definitely not an ordinary monster beast. Chapter 1256. This woman is not simple either, to be able to contract a demonic beast of this level. Lu Wendy's face was filled with astonishment, but he quickly frowned. But since she can even contract a demonic beast of this level, how could she be from a small empire? Maybe she just happened to be lucky enough to contract such a demonic beast. It can only be said that she's lucky. Su Ilien shrugged her shoulders, her expression showing that she did not think much of it. As she spoke, Su Ilien could not help but look at Fu Yeyu. Brother Fu, do you think I'm right? However, Fu Yeyu did not answer Su Ilien's question. His gaze was fixed on the white lion. He had a feeling that this little fellow was definitely an extremely terrifying demonic beast. However, because it was still very young, it could not fully display its strength. In a few more years, this little fellow would definitely be an extremely extraordinary existence. Didn't you guys notice that when this little fellow roared, even the heavenly spirit bear was stunned for a moment? Fu Yeyu narrowed his eyes. Others did not notice this, but he did not miss it. Following Fu Yeyu's words, Su Ilien and the other two were all stunned. Following that, their faces could not help but be filled with shock. They had not noticed this before, but now that Fu Yeyu had reminded them, they immediately understood how terrifying it was. For a demonic beast of the heavenly spirit bear's level to change due to its roar, this proves that this contracted beast's level is above the heavenly spirit bear's. When everyone thought of this, their expressions could not help but change. At this moment, they could not help but envy Bailey Hongzhuang. A contracted beast was already an extremely rare existence, and a powerful contracted beast was even rarer. They did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang could contract a demonic beast of such a level. She was truly extraordinarily lucky. Wei Yuanqing's expression gradually changed, and his heart was filled with shock. The heavenly spirit bear is currently in a berserk state. When this was said, everyone was stunned once again. This sentence was like a bomb that exploded in everyone's hearts. A feeling of disbelief spread in everyone's minds. This was simply impossible. Whenever a demonic beast fell into a berserk state, their intelligence would rapidly decline. They would not be able to think of anything else, and would only be left with their battle instincts. Even if a stronger monster appeared in front of it, it wouldn't feel the slightest bit of fear. It wouldn't even care about the suppression of its level. However, White Lion's roar had stunned the berserk heavenly spirit bear for a moment. This was not a simple matter. Then, what level is this contracted beast? At this moment, Su Ilien didn't know what to say. What kind of demonic beast could do this? Moreover, this little guy was still so young. How terrifying would he be in the future? Fu Yeyu no longer spoke, his eyes were fixed on the three demonic beasts. None of them were simple. The other fellows were all injured. Now, only the white-clothed woman and her three contracted beasts were fighting together. This situation was really strange. If he could get his hands on these contracted beasts, it would be a huge gain. Compared to the surprise of Su Ilien and the others, Bailey Hongzhuang was still in battle. Chapter 1257. Xia Jiqing and Bai Junyu accompanied Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu. The two of them had been hit hard by the heavenly spirit bear and their injuries were very serious. The strength of the heavenly spirit bear was so great that one move was enough to make people's internal organs churn. The two of them had endured the attack of the heavenly spirit bear and were now very weak. Even if the two of them had taken healing medicine, their internal injuries were obviously not something that could be healed in a short time. Xia Jiqing and Bai Junyu both felt a deep sense of powerlessness. Facing such a monster, the two of them were so helpless. They were a team, but after such a crisis appeared, they did not have the strength to face it. They just watched from the side. Their hearts were already anxious, but if they went up to fight, they knew that they would not be able to do anything at all. It was better to wait for an opportunity, maybe there would be a chance to help Hong Zhuang. Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu also looked at Bailey Hong Zhuang worriedly. They wanted to fight, but with their current physical condition, they simply did not have the ability to continue fighting. At this moment, everyone only hated that they were not strong enough. If they were strong enough, then they would not be so powerless in such a situation. Junyu, we are fine. You go and see if you can help Hong Zhuang. Dong Fangyu said. Now the heavenly spirit bear's attention was completely attracted by Hong Zhuang and would not care about them at all. Listening to Dong Fangyu's words, Bai Junyu and Xia Jiqing also nodded. Then you be careful. After that, Bai Junyu and Xia Jiqing picked up their weapons and went to Bailey Hong Zhuang's side. No matter what, they had to do their part. They saw Bailey Hong Zhuang's hands turn over, and the vigorous spirit energy continued to surge out of her body, followed by a more scorching force than before. A huge green flaming palm appeared in the air once again. The heavenly spirit bear became more violent after seeing this familiar blue flame palm. Its previous injury was because of this blue flame palm. Not far away, Fu Yeyu and the others saw Bailey Hong Zhuang use the same trick again, and there was a trace of surprise in their eyes. Su Ilian curled her lips as her expression revealed a hint of disdain. Previously, everyone had thought too highly of this white-clothed girl. Now, it seemed that this girl only knew this profound rank martial skill. Her strength was far from being as strong as they thought. It seems that the white-clothed woman is also at her wit's end. Apart from this move, she doesn't have any other moves. Lu Wendy and the others didn't speak when they heard this. To cultivators from small dynasties, being able to grasp a profound rank martial skill was already extremely good. Even if they used the same move, as long as they could achieve results, it would be very good. However, Bailey Hong Zhuang had already used this trick before. Even if she used it again, it might not be as effective. Yi Yu, in my opinion, why don't we wait for this white-clothed girl to finish this move and then make a move? Wei Yuanqing said slowly. Thinking about it, after Bailey Hong Zhuang's move was finished, this heavenly spirit bear's injury would be even more serious. If they all made a move together, this heavenly spirit bear would be finished. Hearing this, Fu Yeyu thought for a moment and said, let's see the situation first. This white-clothed girl should have other ideas. Chapter 1258. Xia Jiqing and the others immediately knew Bailey Hong Zhuang's plan after seeing Bailey Hong Zhuang display this move. They had seen Hong Zhuang display this move in the last college tournament. It was the same Azure Flame Holy Palm, but the power of the two had a huge difference. The Azure Flame Holy Palm gave people a feeling that it was difficult to resist, but the shrunken Azure Flame Holy Palm gave people an indescribable feeling of horror. They could faintly feel that the Azure Flame Holy Palm was a primary profound level martial skill, and the shrunken Azure Flame Holy Palm must have reached the intermediate profound level martial skill. They were also very amazed by Hong Zhuang's martial skill. Because the situation of the Azure Flame Holy Palm was really special, they had never heard of such a transformation martial skill, and after the transformation, the power could increase so much. Speaking of which, Hong Zhuang had a lot of special places, and they had already gotten used to it. Sure enough, after Bailey Hong Zhuang displayed the Azure Flame Holy Palm, the next moment, the gesture of her hands suddenly changed. The Azure Flame Holy Palm gradually became smaller in everyone's eyes, and a palpitating power spread out from the shrunken Azure Flame Holy Palm. The originally hot temperature was now even hotter, and the shrunken Azure Flame Holy Palm was like the core of the flame, which was eye-catching. What kind of martial skill is this? Lu Wendy's face was filled with indescribable surprise. It can actually change like this. They knew that some martial skills had different moves, but the sudden shrinking of the martial skill was really strange. Moreover, Bailey Hongzhuang obviously compressed the power of the Azure Flame Holy Palm, making the energy more condensed and the power more terrifying. Su Yilian's face was a bit ugly. Just a moment ago, she was still laughing at Bailey Hongzhuang, and the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang displayed such a special move, which made her somewhat embarrassed. The things on this woman are really not simple. There must be a lot of treasures in her Qiankuan bag. Wei Yuanqing chuckled. The other cultivators did not show too much, but they had already seen a lot of special things from Bailey Hongzhuang. Thinking about it, their harvest this time was really not small. When the Heavenly Spirit Bear saw the shrunken Azure Flame Holy Palm, it had some doubts, and immediately rushed toward Bailey Hongzhuang again. It really hated this annoying human in front of it. She was obviously not as strong as it, but she was as cunning as a loach, making it impossible for it to catch her. Bailey Hongzhuang's movements was also extremely fast. With a wave, the shrunken Azure Flame Holy Palm once again rushed toward the Heavenly Spirit Bear. Bang! An earth-shattering sound seemed to come from the heavens, exploding in everyone's ears. Countless clouds of dust once again spread out, obscuring everyone's vision. Everyone's gaze was focused on the cloud of dust, only wanting to know the situation of the Heavenly Spirit Bear. Her black phoenix eyes stared at the smoke and dust in the sky. Bailey Hongzhuang's pretty face was expressionless. She had a certain amount of confidence in her sacred Azure Flame Palm. It did its attack. Palms. Although the berserk Heavenly Spirit Bear was stronger, it had lost its intelligence, so it was easy to deal with. If it was a cultivator of this level, it would be really difficult for her to deal with it. Demonic beasts that did not know martial skills were undoubtedly much easier to deal with. Chapter 1259. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was indifferent as she slowly said, "I can't be sure, but even if it didn't die, this blow made it uncomfortable." After a long while, under everyone's gaze, the smoke gradually dissipated, and a burnt smell spread. Everyone could clearly see the situation in the smoke. The Heavenly Spirit Bear had fallen to the ground, and its blood-red eyes gradually regained their clarity. It seemed that it was breathing more than it was inhaling. Seeing the Heavenly Spirit Bear's dying appearance, the faces of Xia Jiqing and the others were filled with joy. Success! Dongfang Yu and Gong Shaoqing also breathed a sigh of relief. Their originally tense hearts were also put down, and their slightly pale handsome faces were filled with smiles. After such a thrilling battle, it was finally resolved safely. Hongzhuang, you are really amazing. Xia Jiqing's face could not hide the excitement. The Heavenly Spirit Bear was a monster beast, and it was simply a disaster. There was no other choice but to escape. However, now Hongzhuang had directly killed the Heavenly Spirit Bear. What kind of strength was this? Gong Shaoqing's heart was also filled with emotion. Thinking back to the college tournament, Bailey Hongzhuang had difficulty displaying the miniature version of the sacred blue flame palm. Now, when Bailey Hongzhuang displayed it again, her expression was very relaxed, and it was no longer as simple as before. This point alone was enough to prove that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength had improved during this time. Amazing! Bai Junyu gave Bailey Hongzhuang a thumbs up. This kind of strength was really admirable. Bailey Hongzhuang walked to the side of Gong Shaoqing and Dongfang Yu, a trace of concern on her face. How are your injuries? Gong Shaoqing waved his hand. We suffered a little internal injury. We only need to recuperate for a while to recover. Although there was a burning pain in their internal organs, it did not hurt their foundation. They only needed to rest for a while. Dongfang Yu nodded slightly, agreeing with Gong Shaoqing's statement. Even if they were injured today, compared to their gains, this injury was nothing. However, there was also an indescribable sense of urgency in his heart. Bailey Hongzhuang's strength had improved so quickly, leaving them far behind. They must desperately catch up with Bailey Hongzhuang. Otherwise, in the future, the gap between them would become bigger and bigger, and in the future, they would not even be qualified to be teammates with Bailey Hongzhuang. This was not what he wanted. Bailey Hongzhuang checked Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu's pulse. Both of their internal organs had suffered a certain shock, obviously caused by the heavenly spirit bear's strength. Their injuries, and injuries, and their injuries, once they fell off the cliff, it would be really dangerous. My internal injuries are quite serious. It seems that I will need to rest for a few days. Hongzhuang, Dongfangyu, and Dongfangyu, Dongfangyu, and Dongfang S and Shaoqing, and Dongfang and Dongfangyi Dongfang. Based on their current location, there was still a certain distance from the city where they were resting. It would not be easy for the two of them to rush back. The three beasties had already surrounded the heavenly spirit bear. Xiao He and Xiao Bai's eyes were filled with desire. I heard that this heavenly spirit bear's taste is not bad. Looks like we can try it today. Many demonic beasts' meat was not delicious, but some demonic beasts' meat could be said to be delicious. Obviously, this heavenly spirit bear's meat was delicious. Chapter 1260. Bailey Hongzhuang walked to the heavenly spirit bear's side and stabbed the colored glass sword into its body. The dead heavenly spirit bear's skin and flesh were not as hard as before, so it was a very simple matter to take out the demon crystal. After taking out the demonic crystal, Bailey Hongzhuang found that the energy in this demonic crystal was obviously much more abundant than the energy of an ordinary demonic crystal. It seemed that this was a great supplement for Baishe. Baishe had already jumped excitedly onto Bailey Hongzhuang's shoulder, its big bright eyes flashing with excitement. It rubbed its palms and licked its lips, obviously craving for the demon crystal. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled and tossed the demonic crystal to Baishe. Baishe immediately caught it and bit it. Lu Wendy and the others not far away saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had actually defeated the heavenly spirit bear, and their eyes were filled with surprise. It seemed that they had underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang's strength. Fu Yeyu's gaze fell on Baishe. This little guy had always been extraordinary. It actually ate the heavenly spirit bear's demon crystal directly. It was really amazing. What kind of demonic beast was the heavenly spirit bear? Its demon crystal contained very rich energy, but this little guy dared to eat it directly. He had never seen such a young contract beast being able to do this. What kind of contract beast was this? It was really puzzling. Su Ilyan looked at the crowd and said, "It's time for us to make a move." Lu Wendy and the others looked at each other and then stood up together. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others packed up and were about to leave, and an untimely voice suddenly rang out. "Leave the blood ginseng fruit." Su Ilyan's sharp and disdainful voice rang out. Her lips curled into a faint smile, and her eyes were filled with an aggressive light. This woman in white had really aroused her interest. She had not paid so much attention to a woman in a long time. Seeing the sudden appearance of a group of people, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were all stunned. The atmosphere instantly turned ugly. Her ink-black phoenix eyes flashed with a deep light. Earlier, she had felt that something was wrong. Now, it seemed that there was indeed some other unforeseen event. Xiao He and Xiao Bai's eyes flashed with a trace of annoyance. Previously, they had placed all their attention on the heavenly spirit bear and did not pay attention to the other movements around them. Who would have thought that there would be such a group of people hiding nearby? It seemed like the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. The faces of Xia Jiqing and the others were ugly. They had spent a lot of effort to kill the heavenly spirit bear, and now someone was trying to take advantage of it. You've been watching the show for so long, and now you want to reap the benefits? Don't you think you're dreaming? Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was indifferent, her eyes revealing a trace of coldness, but her heart was constantly thinking about the situation in front of her. The other party was obviously from a medium-sized empire as well, and there were 8 people in the group. In comparison, they were undoubtedly at a disadvantage. Dong Fangyu and Gong Shaoqing were both heavily injured and were clearly unable to continue fighting. The most important thing was that the other party still chose to come out after seeing her strength, which proved that the strength of their team was not weak. It seemed that this was going to be a fierce battle. "Miss, what you're saying is wrong." Lu Wendy shook his head, a chic smile on his face. Chapter 1261. Listening to Lu Wendy's words, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with a hint of understanding. It seemed that her previous guess was not wrong. The heavenly spirit bear had fallen into a state of madness because of them, and they had been watching the show from the side. This blood ginseng fruit grows between heaven and earth. Naturally, it belongs to whoever picks it. Young master's words are too unreasonable. Her deep phoenix eyes were filled with a cold light. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was sonorous and powerful. Everyone knew that the treasures of heaven and earth belonged to whoever obtained them. What this guy said was completely twisting words and forcing logic. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang's words had exposed him, Lu Wendy did not care. "You either obediently leave the blood ginseng fruit behind, or all of you stay here together. A wise man submits to circumstances. I think you should think about it carefully." Lu Wendy crossed his arms over his chest, looking fearless. Now the fighting power of Bailey Hongzhuang's group was not comparable to theirs. Whether it was robbing or seizing, this group of people would not be their opponents. The blood ginseng fruit was already in their bag. Looking at Lu Wendy and the others' fearless appearance, Xia Jiqing secretly said, "You are too despicable." Wei Yuanqing chuckled, "What is this? You have not seen what is more despicable." Gong Shaoqing and the others' faces were livid. None of them thought that someone would come out of nowhere and want to directly take the blood ginseng fruit away. However, this was something that none of them could accept. Fu Yeyu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. Originally, when he saw Bailey Hongzhuang from a distance, he felt that this woman was elegant and refined. At this moment, looking closer, that perfect face did not have the slightest blemish. There was a trace of gentleness in her arrogance, which was unforgettable. However, Fu Yeyu had never been a person who was obsessed with beauty. Only strength was the most important. When he became strong, how many beauties would be in his bag? Hand over the blood ginseng fruit now. Otherwise, you will be the unlucky ones. Fu Yiyu's voice was cold and arrogant. "We'll let you go because you've taken care of the heavenly spirit bear. If you don't know what's good for you, don't blame us." Hearing Fu Yeyu's words, Su Ilyan couldn't help but frown. She was very interested in this azure flame sacred palm. From the beginning to the end, she had never thought of letting this group of people go. As long as he killed them, not only would he be able to obtain the blood ginseng fruit, he would also be able to obtain the martial skill. This woman looked so extraordinary. She must have a lot of treasures in her Qiankuan bag. How could she let them go just like that? The problem was that both Fu Yeyu and Lu Wendy said the same thing, so she didn't know what to do. This is impossible. Gong Shaoqing's cold face was filled with anger. They had worked so hard to obtain the blood ginseng fruit, so they could not just give it to someone else. Along the way, the thought of increasing their strength had been hovering in their minds. The blood ginseng fruit was an extremely important treasure to them now. As long as they consumed the blood ginseng fruit, their cultivation would increase by a lot. Hearing this, Fu Yeyu sneered, "In your current situation, if you want to make an enemy out of us, then you are seeking your own death." Gong Shaoqing's face became uglier. If he wasn't injured, he could have fought with the other party. Chapter 1262. Master, these guys are too arrogant. Let me beat them up. Xiao Hei's eyes were full of anger. It had always been them who robbed others. Now someone dared to rob them. This was intolerable. Xiao Bai also clenched his fists. These guys want to take advantage of us. We must not let them have an easy time. Bai Shi looked at Fu Yeyu and the others fiercely. Any cultivator who was the enemy of his master was his enemy. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Fu Yeyu and the others indifferently. Which dynasty are you from? Since they were opponents, she had to figure out the identity of the other party. Su Ilyan held her head high and looked at them with contempt. Sky Dynasty. Their Sky Dynasty was a medium-sized dynasty. It was not comparable to the other small dynasty. Not only that, but the Cosmos Empire was also one of the best among the medium-sized empires. Compared to Su Ilyan's triumphant appearance, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at each other, their faces showing a trace of confusion. Have you heard of it? Xia Jiqing asked curiously. She had heard of the dynasties near the Kanglin College, but had never heard of the other dynasties. Gong Shaoqing and the others shook their heads. They usually put all their energy into cultivation. They did not care about the names of some dynasties. They had never heard of the Sky Dynasty. As for Bailey Hongzhuang, there was no need to say more. She had never cared about the large, medium, and small dynasties. Only after coming to the small world did she know that Fengbo country was a small dynasty. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, Su Ilyan only felt that they were deliberately provoking her. She could not help but feel angry. A group of country bumpkins. They have never even heard of the name Sky Dynasty. Su Ilyan's face was red. Generally, the cultivators of the small and medium-sized dynasties would show a red realm appearance when they knew they were from the Sky Dynasty. Some cultivators with foresight would take a detour when they saw them. Now these guys had not even heard of the name Sky Dynasty. It really made her angry. Fu Yeyu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others and asked, "Which dynasty are you from?" Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. They were not from the dynasty but from the Tiangang sect. It was just that the number of people in their team was not convincing at all. Xia Jiqing had already blurted out, "Tiangang." Without waiting for Xia Jiqing to finish speaking, Su Ilyan's voice had already sounded. Tiangang dynasty? What dynasty was this? I've never heard of it. The eyes of Fu Yiyu and the rest also flickered with a pondering light. They had taken note of the strength of the various empires before participating in the great competition. Although they didn't pay much attention to the small empires, they still took a few glances at them. However, they had indeed never heard of the name of the Great Dipper dynasty. Tiangang dynasty, it doesn't sound like a great dynasty. The name is so similar to Tiangang sect, it's ridiculous. Su Ilyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and others disdainfully. The name of a small empire was actually so similar to the name of Tiangang sect. It was really like trying to draw a tiger but ended up looking like a dog. What a joke. Chapter 1263. Xia Jiqing looked at Su Ilyan speechlessly. She had never seen such a self-righteous woman. She was really a weirdo. So what? Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes slightly raised, her delicate and beautiful face indifferent and calm. Since Su Ilyan misunderstood, then she would let her misunderstand. Tiangang dynasty, this name was not bad. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's rhetorical question, Su Ilyan could not help but be stunned for a moment. Faced with such a question, she really did not know how to answer. It was this short period of silence that made Su Ilyan even angrier. The current situation was clearly that they had the upper hand, but Bailey Hongzhuang still dared to talk to her like this. Did she not want to live anymore? Hand over the blood ginseng fruit immediately, otherwise you will all die here. Su Ilyan's face was cold, her eyes burning with anger. Her delicate and beautiful face bloomed with an enchanting and evil smile, revealing an unruly and arrogant aura. Bailey Hongzhuang's red lips lightly opened, "Just by you. You are not qualified. Even if Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu were injured, Xiao He, Xiao Bai and Bai Shi were all good fighters. Although the other side had more people than them, the situation was not certain in a real battle. She, Bailey Hongzhuang, had never had the possibility of being easily taken away by others. Unless, the other side killed her. With Bailey Hongzhuang's sarcastic and provocative words, the atmosphere suddenly froze. Su Ilyan's face was livid, but there was a trace of relief in her heart. Originally, she was worried that Bailey Hongzhuang's group would obediently hand over the blood ginseng fruit, then she would have no fate with the sacred azure flame palm. Now Bailey Hongzhuang was not appreciating her kindness, which was exactly what she wanted to see. When Bailey Hongzhuang was defeated by her, she wanted to see if this woman could still be so arrogant. Since you don't know what's good for you, then I will let you know the price of arrogance. Su Ilyan narrowed her eyes. However, Bailey Hongzhuang did not care at all. Same here. At the same time, Xia Jiqing and the others had already taken out their weapons. As cultivators, they would never give up without a fight. If you want to take away their things, you need to have enough strength. Bailey Hongzhuang sized up Su Ilyan and the rest. Among these people, Fu Yeyu was the strongest. The other cultivators were not weak either. There was a certain degree of difficulty in the battle, but no one would know the outcome until the very last moment. In a moment, when you have the opportunity, you must kill them. End the battle quickly, don't give them a chance to turn the tables, Bailey Hongzhuang said in a low voice. The three beasts nodded in unison. This was no laughing matter now. Their master had already lost quite a bit of his origin energy in the previous battle. Even if he consumed medicinal pills, he would not be able to recover in a short period of time. They could only end this battle as quickly as possible. Gong Shaoqing, Dong Fangyu, don't join the battle. Take care of yourselves. Hearing this, although Dong Fangyu and Gong Shaoqing were unwilling, they also knew that with their physical condition, they could not bear another battle. In the current situation, they could only wait for an opportunity. The most important thing was that they could not become a burden to Hongzhuang and the others. Jiqing, Junyu, in a moment, find your opponents and end the battle quickly. Chapter 1264. Seeing the actions of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, Fu Yeyu and the others knew that they did not intend to hand over the blood ginseng fruit and were going to fight to the death. Miss, I advise you not to be stubborn. If you lose your life for the blood ginseng fruit, it is not a good deal. Lu Wendy's lips evoked an evil smile. If the woman in white was not their opponent, he would really appreciate it. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were like a knife, sharp and cold. Stop talking nonsense. If you want to take the blood ginseng fruit, you have to see if you have the strength. With Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Lu Wendy and the others' faces were also filled with a disdainful smile. It was a simple matter for them to deal with a team from a small empire. You won't give up until you reach the Yellow River. Fu Yiyu sneered. The origin energy in his body surged out like a tidal wave, and a vigorous energy burst out in an instant. Orange Realm Level 5. Feeling the strength of Fu Yeyu, everyone's expression changed. They already knew that Fu Yeyu's strength was very strong before, but they did not expect him to have reached Orange Realm Level 5. They were also from a medium-sized empire, but the strength of Fu Yeyu and the others was much stronger than Liang Xinghui and the others they had encountered before. Xia Jiqing and the others understood at this moment that the Sky Empire was a very strong existence among the medium-sized empires, so the strength of the cultivators was so strong. At the same time, Su Ilyan took a step forward, and the tyrannical strength burst out in an instant. Bailey Hongzhuang looked indifferent. In this short moment, she also understood the strength of the other party. 1 Orange Realm Level 5, 2 Orange Realm Level 4, 1 Orange Realm Level 3, 1 Orange Realm Level 1, 2 Red Realm Level 8, and 1 Red Realm Level 7. Compared with the strength of the two teams, there was a huge gap. No wonder the other party was not afraid after knowing their strength. This battle was not easy. The faces of Xia Jiqing and the others were pale. Except for Heng Zhuang, Xiao He, and Xiao Bai, who could fight with the other party, their combat power was not enough. Originally, they did not know the other party's strength, so they were very indifferent. Now, it seemed that the gap between their strength was not ordinary. Master, the difference in strength is a little too great. A serious look appeared in Xiao Bai's eyes. The few of them were not afraid, but Gong Xiaoqing and the others were clearly weak points. Once the other party held Gong Xiaoqing and the others hostage, their situation would be extremely awkward. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. This situation was indeed difficult to resolve. If it was only her and the three beasts, they could still put up a fight. But in the current situation, it was obviously impossible to fight head-on. Suddenly, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up. At this point, they only had one solution. The three beasts saw the sudden change in Bailey Hongzhuang's face, and there was a hint of surprise in their eyes. They did not know what their master had thought of. The blood ginseng fruit could improve the strength of the cultivator. After Bailey Hongzhuang got the blood ginseng fruit, she only wanted to combine it with several other herbs to refine it into a pill. In this way, the best effect of the blood ginseng fruit could be exerted. But in the current situation, it was obvious that they could not wait for that moment. In this case, there was only one way left, which was to take the blood ginseng fruit. Chapter 1265. Thinking of this, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly said, "Wait a moment, I have to discuss with my teammates." Seeing the sudden change in Bailey Hongzhuang's attitude, Fu Yeyu and the others had a clear smile on their faces. It could only be said that Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were not willing to give up. They were so arrogant before when they did not know their strength. Now that they knew how powerful they were, they changed their attitude. Gong Xiaoqing and the others listened to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, and there was a strong sense of helplessness and frustration in their hearts. They understood that Bailey Hongzhuang's decision was wise. With their current strength, they were indeed not the opponents of the cultivators of the Sky Empire. If they fought hard, it was likely that they would be wiped out. Compared to such an ending, the loss of handing over the blood ginseng fruit was undoubtedly much smaller. However, an opportunity to improve their own strength had slipped away from their eyes, which was undoubtedly a very painful thing. Fu Yeyu and the others looked at each other. They were also a little afraid of the strength that Bailey Hongzhuang had shown before. Although they were certain to win this battle, with the difficulty of Bailey Hongzhuang and the three monsters, they were afraid that they would have to pay a big price. In contrast, if they could easily get the blood ginseng fruit, they would naturally choose this more advantageous way. After all, they still had to stay in the small world for a while. If their strength was reduced, it would be very disadvantageous for them in the next year. A wise man submits to circumstances, you can discuss it. Fu Yeyu said generously. In any case, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others would not escape from their hands. Even if they wanted to delay time, it was nothing. Because no matter how they delayed time, the final situation could not be changed. Bailey Hongzhuang took a few steps back and walked in front of Xia Jiqing and the others. Xia Jiqing and the others' mood at the moment could be described as very low. It was a rare luck to be able to encounter a treasure like the blood ginseng fruit. They did not expect that now they would have to hand over the blood ginseng fruit. They really could not bear such a blow. Because of their incompetence, they could only hand over such a treasure. However, Bailey Hongzhuang's next words made them stunned for a moment, and their eyes once again bloomed with a bright light. Everyone listen carefully, now we only have one way left, that is to take the blood ginseng fruit. The energy contained in the blood ginseng fruit is powerful and violent. It will be difficult to swallow it with the strength of the Red Realm, but I have a kind of medicinal pill that is more gentle. As long as you take the blood ginseng fruit with this pill, the violent elements in the energy will be reduced a lot, and you will face the state of breakthrough. In this case, we can only to fight a quick battle to end. Her ink-black phoenix-like eyes were filled with a resolute light. In her life's creed, there was no such thing as surrendering to others. Therefore, even if he had to risk his life, he had to give it a try. Asked, Bailey Hongzhuang to them was to be? Asked. Them Hongzheng is Wang. She. Gong Shaoqing and the others nodded without hesitation. No problem. They could not wait for Bailey Hongzhuang to make such a decision. They knew that an interview was much better than surrendering in their eyes. Chapter 1266. Fu Yeyu and the others looked arrogantly at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. No matter how Bailey Hongzhuang and the others discussed, there was no solution in front of them, so they could only let them discuss. If you knew this would happen, why would you waste time letting us release our aura? Lu Wendy's face was filled with a smug smile. It was this kind of feeling that was the most satisfying. Without making a move, just releasing their aura was enough to make the other party raise their hands and surrender. What kind of strength was this? It's not easy for them. They spent a lot of effort, but in the end, they didn't get anything. Wei Yuanqing chuckled. Su Ilian was not as happy as the others. She just wanted to kill Bailey Hongzhuang, but she did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang would change her mind at the last moment. Hey, have you finished discussing? Su Ilian said impatiently, now hand over the blood ginseng fruit and you can get out. For some reason, listening to Su Ilian's words, Fu Yeyu could not help but frown. He always felt that something was wrong. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly turned around, her lips evoked a bright and enchanting smile, and said, we have finished discussing. The next moment, Xia Jiqing and the others had already put the blood ginseng fruit they got from Bailey Hongzhuang into their mouths. In their view, they had a total of 5 cultivators, and 5 blood ginseng fruits had grown here. It was completely prepared for them by God. How could they hand it over so easily? Bailey Hongzhuang also put the blood ginseng fruit into her mouth along with the medicinal pills. The blood ginseng fruit melted in her mouth, and immediately turned into rich energy that was absorbed by the cells in her body. Everyone only felt that their internal organs were burning, and their whole body seemed to have endless power. Gong Shaoqing and Dong Fangyu felt that their injuries were gradually alleviated under the influx of this energy. Any heaven and earth treasure had the effect of healing injuries, but usually cultivators would not make such a choice because it was too wasteful. However, in the situation in front of them, they had no other choice at all. Fu Yeyu and the others did not think that Bailey Hongzhuang and the others would suddenly make such a decision. The energy of the blood ginseng fruit was so violent that they directly swallowed it. Did they not want to live anymore? After a short moment of surprise, Fu Yeyu and the rest all had a look of anger on their faces. There were only 5 blood ginseng fruits. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others had all eaten these 5 blood ginseng fruits. Didn't this mean that they had nothing? How dare you? Fu Yeyu quickly stepped forward, wanting to stop Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. A treasure like the blood ginseng fruit was a great tonic for any cultivator. As long as their strength could be improved, it meant that they would be able to achieve better results in the assessment competition. However, now Bailey Hongzhuang and the others actually ate the blood ginseng fruit in front of them. But Fu Yeyu's stop was of no use. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others had long known that Fu Yeyu and the others would try their best to stop them, so they took it as quickly as possible, not giving the other party a chance to stop them. After taking the blood ginseng fruit, Bailey Hongzhuang innocently spread her hands. Sorry, this is our decision. Chapter 1267. You guys are so despicable. Su Ilian's eyes widened as she stared at Bailey Hongzhuang in disbelief. The blood ginseng fruit was so powerful that even with their cultivation base, they did not dare to swallow the fruit directly. This group of people was too deranged to actually make such a crazy decision. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Su Ilyan coldly. No matter how despicable I am, I can't be more despicable than you guys. You guys are dreaming if you want to reap the benefits from our fight. Su Ilyan's face was ashen. Her original wishful thinking had been broken by Bailey Hongzhuang, the anger in her heart could be imagined. You're asking for it. Su Ilyan shouted angrily. Bailey Hongzhuang's actions were tantamount to humiliating them, it was simply unbearable. As Su Ilyan's voice fell, the Yuan Qi and Fu Yeyu and the others' bodies whizzed out in an instant. At this point, they must kill Bailey Hongzhuang and the others to vent the anger in their hearts. Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest were prepared to fight as they watched Su Ilyan and the rest. Moreover, they felt like they could not exert their strength under the immense energy of the blood ginseng fruit. To be able to have a battle at this time was the best thing. Leave the orange level 5 guy to me. Xiao Hei's eyes flashed coldly. These guys were so arrogant just because they were strong. It had to make them pay the price. Leave the 2 orange level 4 guys to me. Xiao Bai said. Normally, it would only fight monsters that were not strong enough. It was quite boring. It did not expect to see such a good show today. It was rare to have such a good opportunity to perform. Of course, it had to perform well. It had not had a chance to relax for so many years. These guys were perfect for it to practice. Bailey Hongzhuang originally wanted to fight Lu Wendy, who was at orange level 4. However, since Xiao Bai said that it would take care of these 2 guys, it changed its mind. Xiao Bai, hang in there for a while. I'll help you after I've taken care of the orange level rank 3 cultivator, Bailey Hongzhuang said. The strength of Xia Jiqing's group and the other 4 cultivators obviously had a big gap. Therefore, they had to deal with these 4 cultivators as soon as possible. As long as they could get rid of these 4 fellows, they would win. Otherwise, they would suffer great losses. Master, don't worry, leave it to me. Xiao Bai's eyes shone with determination. It could still hold on against 2 orange level 4 cultivators. Xia Jiqing and the other 3 also chose their opponents. With their current cultivation, it was obviously not easy to deal with the other party. However, under the turbulent energy of the blood ginseng fruit, they only felt that their combat effectiveness had improved a lot. Baishe decided to help Xia Jiqing and the others. Only in this way could they last longer. In just a short moment, everyone had already found their opponents. Xiao Hei and Xiao Bai stepped forward and blocked Fu Yeyu and the other 2. At the same time, Su Ilyan walked directly to Bailey Hongzhuang. She had been unhappy with Bailey Hongzhuang for a long time. Now, she finally had a chance to deal with Bailey Hongzhuang. What's your name? Su Ilyan's eyes shone with a fierce light as she asked coldly. Bailey Hongzhuang's face was cold and indifferent. My name is Bailey Hongzhuang, and I'll never change my surname. Chapter 1268. Bailey Hongzhuang's ink-black phoenix eyes were filled with a trace of ridicule. The corners of her lips rose slightly, and her originally delicate and moving face became even more beautiful. The sunlight shone on her body, giving her a layer of golden glow. She looked even more beautiful. This sentence seems to be more suitable for you. Her light words were indifferent and confident, and her fair and smooth face was filled with confidence. Bailey Hongzhuang was clearly at a disadvantage, but she did not show any signs of discouragement. Su Ilyan felt even more unhappy looking at Bailey Hongzhuang. Today was her first time meeting Bailey Hongzhuang. However, she did not know why, but when she saw Bailey Hongzhuang, she could not help but feel disgusted. She knew very well that it was an emotion called jealousy. However, she could not understand. Her background and ability were clearly more powerful than Bailey Hongzhuang. Why would she be jealous? Therefore, she did not want to admit it. There was only one way to make this emotion disappear completely. She had to kill Bailey Hongzhuang. You're just an Orange Realm level 2 cultivator. How dare you talk nonsense to me? What a joke. Su Ilyan chuckled. Her cultivation was one level higher than Bailey Hongzhuang. Moreover, she came from a middle-sized dynasty. She would definitely be more powerful than Bailey Hongzhuang, who came from a small-sized dynasty. She only had to worry about Bailey Hongzhuang's sacred green flame palm. Other than that, she had nothing to worry about. Looking at Su Ilyan's self-righteous appearance, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyebrows flashed with a trace of impatience. Don't talk nonsense, let's fight. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Su Ilyan couldn't help but be surprised. In this situation, Bailey Hongzhuang should be afraid of her. However, Bailey Hongzhuang actually dared to challenge her first. Su Ilyan's face turned cold. Since you can't wait to die, I'll grant you your wish. In the next moment, Su Ilyan took a step forward. Her Orange Realm level 3 aura instantly exploded. As if to show that she was more powerful than Bailey Hongzhuang, Su Ilyan immediately released her aura towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Although the difference in their abilities was very small and the aura had little effect, there was still some effect. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved into a sneer. This Su Ilyan was really too naive. She actually used such a useless trick. Wasn't this just a joke? Bailey Hongzhuang stood motionless in the same place, letting Su Ilyan exert pressure on her. She didn't react at all. For a moment, Su Ilyan's face was somewhat ugly. Bailey Hongzhuang's actions were tantamount to mocking her stupidity. With this little bit of pressure, is it just scratching an itch? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were filled with mockery. This cultivator from a middle-sized dynasty was really different. Su Ilyan's face turned black. At least I can still release my aura. You don't even have the right to do that. As Su Ilyan's voice fell, Bailey Hongzhuang's deep black eyes suddenly flashed with a touch of light. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips hooked into an enchanting smile as she lazily looked at Su Ilyan. If I can use my power, then what? Hee hee. Su Ilyan sneered. Are you dreaming? This Bailey Hongzhuang must have been provoked to the point of insanity, to even dare to say such words. Chapter 1269. However, in the next moment, Su Ilyan's pupils constricted. She felt a huge pressure pressing down on her, as if a small mountain was pressing down on her back. Her movements slowed down, and even the circulation of the origin energy in her body slowed down considerably. Most importantly, she felt an indescribable smell of blood spreading throughout her body. Su Ilyan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in shock. This was impossible. Bailey Hongzhuang was only at level 2 of the Orange Realm. How could she exert such pressure on her? Under the suppression of Bailey Hongzhuang's pressure, Su Ilyan could not use her powers at level 3 of the Red Realm. She was probably weaker than Bailey Hongzhuang. This is impossible. How did you do it? Su Ilyan's heart was in turmoil. She had lived in this world for more than 10 years and she had never heard of such a thing. Looking at the situation where Su Ilyan's strength was suppressed, Bailey Hongzhuang's black phoenix eyes were filled with a trace of satisfaction. This was the first time she had used the blood aura field since she had obtained it in the Bloodland Abyss. It seemed that the effect was better than she had imagined. For a cultivator, it was very difficult to fight someone who was at a higher level. However, with the blood aura field, it was very easy for her to fight someone who was at a higher level. As long as she used the blood aura field, her opponent's powers would be suppressed. This way, the gap between the two of them would be narrowed. Thinking of this, Bailey Hongzhuang expanded the range of the blood aura field. Through this method, she could weaken her opponent's powers. This was the most powerful part of the blood aura field. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled brightly. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean it's impossible. Not far away, Fu Yeyu and the rest were planning to kill everyone. Suddenly, they felt an inexplicable pressure shrouding them. Their powers were suppressed in a short period of time, and their movements became much slower. After realizing this, Fu Yeyu and the others looked at each other in dismay. This was simply impossible. The three beasts could not help but look at Beili Hongzhuang. After sensing this familiar aura, they knew that this was the effect of the blood aura field. This was a great help for the current situation. It seemed that it was much easier for them to end the battle quickly. What's going on? Lu Wendy's face was filled with confusion. How could such a thing happen out of nowhere? Wei Yuanqing, Fu Yeyu and the rest were confused. The strongest person in their team was level 5 of the Orange Realm. Level 5's aura, logically, should not be able to suppress them. So what was going on? So, this aura. I've never heard of such a thing. Lu Wendy looked at Beili Hongzhuang doubtfully. This matter was too strange, it didn't conform to common sense at all. Fu Yeyu frowned. Under this aura, he could smell the faint smell of blood. This was very strange. After thinking for a moment, a thought suddenly appeared in Fu Yeyu's mind. However, when this thought appeared, he could not help but wipe it away. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.